Hey, FlimsyLunchTray here, and welcome to World of Warships. Back to our intermediate player guide series. It feels like it's been a little while since I was able to do an intermediate player guide series, but at last, here we are back. I'm recording this as of Tuesday night. I've had a lot of work lately, so I needed to get this done promptly for you today, for your viewing pleasure. So, we've been the last few intermediate guide videos. We've been talking a lot about angling, was showcasing a heavy cruiser, I think, and talking about angling, which is just hard in general to angle in a cruiser, heavy cruiser, with a lot of the overmatch you get. But today we're going to be looking at a light cruiser, being the Minotaur, and I'm going to be talking about something that's taken me some time to learn and feel like I was able to exercise that well here in this battle. So I don't really know how to title this video as I'm doing the commentary on it right now. But essentially we're gonna be in Radar Minotaur. Those of you who've been on the channel long enough know that I really like playing Radar Minotaur. I haven't played Smoke Minotaur in like forever. And you're gonna kind of see how that comes into play here in a little bit. But for now, I just want to try to walk you through the positioning and the mindset of when you're in our light cruiser and you're playing this really risky play in a Radar Minotaur. Or not a risky play, just when you play Radar Minotaur, it kind of it's a higher skill floor to be able to get the most out of the ship. So as cap's being taken, I have 10 kilometer radar. I'm kind of just chilling with this druid, and he gets these short burst, short action time smoke generators, and so I'm asking if he could smoke, and he just does it just in time for me, so I can step out here and all right. So I just briefly got spotted, but I don't think the Hindenburg's really going to be able to get any shots on me. So watching that. So basically, I could just fast forward to where I want to talk about specifically in this video, but I think it's important to try to line up the how the events unfold and why I chose this I guess very aggressive position I'm going to choose later as we get through halfway through the battle. So when starting off in the light cruiser experience in World of Warships, as an intermediate player guide going along with that, is you have to be very mindful of your positioning. So for example, let's say you play Wooster, the tier 10 American light cruiser, has 9 kilometer radar, no smoke screen. To a certain extent, that's how I treat the Minotaur. So that means I'm going to be trying to use other people's smokes, but more often than not, I'm going to be utilizing island coverage. And that's what I'm doing here in the Minotaur. When you're looking at the sea cap, you're very vulnerable, you're very wide out in the open. I mean, even a heavy cruiser would have a hard time just stepping into the cap, but it's the early game, right? So cruisers are become really impactful. I would say the second half of the game. Like I say that for destroyers too, but I mean for battleships they can have a lot of influence in my mind throughout the entirety of the battle. But especially something like a light cruiser, because when you're able to retain most of your health pool and you have such a high DPM, you can really exert that influence greatly. Because more likely than not, maybe most of the ships remaining on the enemy team, let's say they're half health or they're less. And with Minotaur's armor piercing, with pin, you can chew through them really quickly and make your presence known. So in this light cruiser experience in World of Warships, especially at the high tier, at tier 10, like right we're talking about, there's a lot of overmatch in the game. You have to play very passively, getting a feel out. So you're going to have these times, these periods of time elapse where you don't feel like you're doing a whole lot. Of course, you want to be in a position that's really useful and really helpful for your team. And so I'm just kind of playing around these islands, trying to see what this Vermont's going to do. One of the strengths that Minotaur has is her torpedoes. Her torpedoes are a huge trump card in a lot of risky situations. And that is actually going to be the trump card for myself later on in this battle. But the fact that you're also able to single launch these 10 kilometer torpedoes is really nice. So I'm kind of hoping this Vermont just keeps going and that he doesn't spot these torpedoes. So we're going to see what happens here, but he gets someone else fired torpedoes at him about roughly the same time I did, think, as the Marcel. So I think that ended up altering his course So we're not going to land any of these torpedoes. So when I started playing World of Warships, I mean, I don't feel like to the last 6 to 10 months that I feel like I've been really improving as a cruiser player in World of Warships. I used to mostly battleships, then destroyers, and then became a lot of destroyers, and now it's become a lot of battleships, cruisers, sorry. So here you're noting that I'm firing now, and that is because the Vermont fired at either Doom Beagle and the Zao or the Montana back behind me. So I can open up. I have a 9.3 kilometer concealment, but because I can kind of abuse that here and playing with my throttle, we can keep chewing down on this Vermont. So when you're out in the open like this, because Vermont could easily just like wreck us through our deck and delete us, you can't really angle to Vermont. You might get lucky, get something on the belt, but that's with that longer reload, I felt comfortable to just reveal myself. So that's something that helps when you know, when you're in light cruiser and you know what type of battleship you're against, that they have a longer reload, like stock Vermont, 40 seconds if he's going for the reload, maybe like 36, kick an adrenaline rush, maybe he's looking at 34, 33 max there. So when you can play that to your knowledge and you're as a cruiser, it can really help you decide when to open up your guns and when to go dark. Especially there, you know, didn't really have the best island coverage, but we did be able to get behind the island just as his guns were about to reload, and he took a shot at the Marceau, which didn't need to come out and take unnecessary damage. So again, we've pushed back up towards the island. I am detected here. Not entirely sure what is detecting me at the moment. Not sure if it's the Marceau. But I feel comfortable. That's one of the reasons why on a light cruiser, priority target is really important, because it helps you be mindful, look around, who's possibly aiming at you. Because to me, only having incoming fire alert on a light cruiser, in general, I don't think is the best. Like, I actually need to know, like, if someone's aiming at me, and if I need to go dark, how many are aiming at me, or if I need to just take cover behind an island, so on and so forth. So that's why I really value priority target on light cruisers in my playing experience. So far in the battle, each team has lost 3. I'm just really trying to chuck these shells at the Puerto Rico. He's riding the map border. So I'm just trying to, if you notice towards the right of my aiming reticle, I'm basically aiming right at the line. I can spam the M key, just tap it twice real quick to try to get an idea, maybe more of his positioning. So I'm going to keep firing at him because when he's broadside to me like this, even at this range, we can get some nice damage salvos in. So there's 2,500. Now we're starting upstream again. You maybe 1,000. Maybe we get lucky with a 3,000 even at this range. But this island is going to start taking some of our shells, so we're not going to get the full potential damage. And that's something as a cruiser player you have to be very conscious of not playing too greedy, right? So here I'm reversing out because I feel confident that the islands between me and Puerto Rico, I'm going to stay dark this entire time. If there was a gap, I would be playing up closer towards the island. So how detection works on your ship, if you don't know this, if you're a newer player, is that it's the center of your ship. The center of your ship has to be revealed. So the center of your ship outside of a smoke screen, that's when you get spotted. So like actually a third of your ship can be outside the smoke and you won't get detected unless your smoke fire penalty reveals you. If half the midpoint of your ship is behind an island, you won't get revealed. Even if a third of your ship is sticking out, you're still dark. So you'll see often a lot cruiser players, particularly would take advantage of positions on islands. Where I can get my front guns fired off, but I'm kind of the midsection of my ship is tucked in behind the island, and I can get damage in for free without being detected. Here, the Puerto Rico has a clear line of sight, and he has his guns facing this way, so we're gonna go dark, right? So we're gonna wait, chill for a minute, see how things go. So we're still just trying to take our time here with what's happening at the cap. We have our Marceau who's stepping back onto the cap, and we have the Hindenburg who's sailing away, the Puerto Rico sailing away, or at least the Puerto Rico is turning out. Their Slava was last detected, well, now he's been redetected, and he's at Bravo. And because my Marceau's pushing up on the cap, I have a radar good to go. I'm going to go ahead and make the decision that I feel comfortable that I can go ahead and step on the cap. Now, how I'm going to do this is I'm going to step up basically towards the island where this Marceau is sailing. And that is kind of more beginning to get to the point where the emphasis that I want this video on, but I felt it was important to show you what events happen and what transpires. So Minotaur, because you don't have a long range, it's 15 something I can't quite see. It requires you at certain points, you have to get up closer to the enemy, especially if they're all running away. So when the enemy's running away like this, I'm not able to do a whole bunch per se if I'm back on that A-B line behind the islands on the north side of this cap. So we're going to keep working here. I'm seeing where people are at. Puerto Rico's behind the island. Hindenburg's behind the island. Not sure where the Shimakaze is. He's a bit of a wild card right now. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move up to the left here because there's this dip in the island. And I'm going to start opening up on the Hindenburg. And so I use the quick commands. Hey, I need some intelligence data. I click on the map where I'm wanting to get the tech, where I need the spotting. I want the Hindenburg spotted. So now Marceau is moving over, so I don't know if it's just by coincidence or if he's going to actually be able to pick up this Marceau Hindenburg for me. Now, it's also important when you're using a light cruiser is the island, right? So I moved up because it's slanted on this side because I felt confident that I could get shells over. I knew it'd be close, but I was pretty confident that I could get shells over. And those are some torpedoes I actually missed catching that I used those earlier. But I went ahead and threw some torpedoes down there. Maybe we'll get lucky. And because of that, we're able to get some more damage, significant damage on the Hindenburg, where we can go into here. Now, if you notice in the background, the Slava is coming out from behind B. And so now my goal is I need to get to cover because if the Slava comes out and catches me, it's not going to be a good situation. So we have kind of a built-in enhanced propulsion on the Minotaur, on the British light cruisers. So we're going to move up. And I'm a little distracted because I'm trying to be very mindful of where the Slava is, so I'm not getting the most accurate of shots on Shima. So I am sacrificing accuracy on the Shima to get more damage in because I want to be aware of the Slava. And the Slava is actually going to be a pretty good player, and you're going to be able to see why here in a bit. So I think the Puerto Rico got a bit of a chunk damage in on us. So now this is where I want to focus the majority of this video on, or what's remaining, is I have to get up on this island. So Slava's pushing up. The Puerto Rico is, I'm in his radar range now, so I can't just simply run away out into the open, or I'm about to be in his radar range as he hits 10 kilometers. So the challenge here is if I decide to abandon C cap and go back to a position where I was, I'm out in the open. The Slava can simply move to the left. He can move to the right. There's an aircraft carrier flying around. And this is a very tricky situation that I think a good amount of players you might find yourself in this situation. Do I run? Do I abandon the island or do I stay on this island? And in certain cruisers, I would say, yeah, you need to abandon the island. Like I've already started doing that. If I was in a Des Moines, if I was in a Worcester, I would. But again, this is where Minotaur shines in a sense that maybe even a Neptune here could. Is because you have torpedoes. So if these ships decide to push up around the island on me, I have 16 torpedoes. I have 8 on each side. And so I can play this position and kind of standing my ground since. So maybe that's the title of this video. It's like knowing when to stand your ground. And it's something that it takes you time, and also being able to have confidence in the ship that you're in that you can stand your ground. I've done that a couple times in Des Moines, even if it has cost me my life, but it was best for my team in helping them succeed and winning. But Minotaur has a leg up on that just because of she simply has torpedoes. So now I'm going to reverse out. I'm thinking maybe I can get my rear guns out on Slava here, but I'm just kind of taking my time, seeing what's going to happen. But I do have a hydro coming off cooldown, and my radar is about to come off cooldown. And so we're just going to kind of reverse back out again. And I'm going to cycle my hydro in radar consumable here. So I'm going to pop the radar, and we catch the Shimakaze. The Shimakaze, not entirely sure what he was thinking, but notice here I'm able to get the rear of my ship out behind the island, and I'm undetected. Now I'm detected because that midpoint has become visible to the Shima. I'm dark. Now I get relit by the Slava. Slava takes a shot. He just gets overpins. Puerto Rico gets some overpins there as well. So now it looks like the Slava has rammed the Shimakaze hull. And I'm like, okay, this Puerto Rico is really low. So I'm going to turn out here. And I'm going to try to work on keeping as best as angle as I can. But I can get some pot shots off on here before he detects me. So there it is. And I'm accelerating, trying to get the angle. And just a little bit of damage. So again, this is working out well for me in a situation. I switch over to torpedoes. And this Slava player knows that if he just carelessly comes around the island, that he will get torpedoed. So we're going to chill here, and every now and then I just like to throw, like, hey, if you're interested, you can find me on YouTube. I don't do that all the time, just every now and then. But now pop the hydroacoustic search. So this combination of the radar, this combination of the hydroacoustic search is giving me very important information of where the Slava might be trying to come around the island. So now it's kind of this who can catch who first to a certain extent. Don't know how to better phrase that. But who can outplay the other? That's more how I want to say. Who can outplay the other? So the Slava, he acts like he maybe is going to come out to the left of the island here, but then he turns away. That could be a ploy to get me to dump my torpedoes, right? But I'm holding on to them. And this is something very, very important if you find yourself in this type of situation. If you can face the island head on, I can decide simply if I need to accelerate quickly up to the left, if I need to quickly accelerate up to the right, I can do so. If I'm sitting, almost right up on the island, and I have to reverse, let's say if Slava decides to come around the side that right onto me and I have to keep reversing, well, he's going to win because he's going to be able to have greater speed than I can to simply just try to out-reverse him going around the island here. So try and get a feel for what he's doing. We go ahead and dump the torpedoes. They're going to be back up in a minute. And so I'm not too concerned about that. So we've launched some. We'll see what happens. And he's just taking his time here. Because we are on 2 caps, we have 2 of the 3 caps, or we only have 1. Each of us only have 1 cap ticking. We still have the lead here. Although our Hindenburg's getting focused and I have the midway back behind me. But you're going to notice here shortly, my hydro is about to run out, but now my radar is back up ready to go when I need it. So this is actually something really good that the Slava does here. And I just want to point this out. If you are in a situation where you're in a Slava and you're dealing with a cruiser or a ship that's just kind of on the backside of the island, he acts like he's going to be coming out here to the left. And I'm not sure if he turns in here just because of the midway sending rocket planes in necessarily. But because he acts like he's going to come out the left, if I'm not being careful, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to accelerate forward. I need to get over. I need to get more around the island. But watch what he does here because it's really good. So, okay, looks like he's going to come around. And then watching. He doesn't know where I'm at right now. Not close enough to hard spot. But he jukes. He goes to the left of the island. So if I had made the misplay of, oh my gosh, he's coming around the left side of the island, I need to get more to the right side of the island, I would have accelerated out and then he would have caught me, right? And most likely dove struck me because I'm a Minotaur, as long as he aims low enough into the water line to get to Citadels. Because if he aims too high, it's just going to overpin. He has to aim low enough. So again, because I'm reversing, my nose is facing the island, I can simply now accelerate forward to the left. But I'm going to wait. There's no need to rush in a situation like this. And what I'm doing here, it literally just, it takes time. This isn't something that comes natural if you're a newer player, but it's something you kind of, maybe even a trial and error, if you will. But I'm kind of hoping the Slava comes around the corner because I really want my Kraken unleashed. But you can see in the top right, the time is running out and the battle's going to be over here shortly. So because of that, I go ahead and say I'm going to dump these torpedoes. But Slava is not having any of it. And so he's just going to be playing slowly and time, 5 seconds. I'll go ahead and dump the other set and I'm just going to go ahead and push forward here. So my CV did a good job supporting me, even giving me some spotted when I needed to. And the Slava did what he could. If he just would have mindlessly rushed around the corner, I would have been able to easily torpedo and kill him. Maybe he would have taken me with him, but at least it would have been a trade. But the goal is, if he comes on the corner, I dump torpedoes and I keep moving further away, keeping the island between me and him. So this is, again, something that comes with time, but being able to know when to stand your ground as a cruiser helps. And a Minotaur Neptune, it was more easy for me to do it in this situation. In a Des Moines Wooster, he simply could just come around and just slapped me. Maybe a harder time if I was in a Petropavlovsk, you know, because it's a Petropavlovsk. But knowing the strengths of your ship, knowing the strengths of yourself as a light cruiser, of how to handle these tricky situations. So I think I need to highlight here how you use the islands, you know, keeping the midpoint of your ship behind an island. So, you know, we were basically killed that Shimikaze and detected us right as we killed him. Being able to alternate between your consumables. And the biggest thing here that I really need to point out is facing the island nose in. So I'm not like up on the island, but you saw I could give myself distance, that I could simply accelerate, turn to the right, accelerate, turn to the left, go starboard or port. That is huge, because if you just sit up broadside next to an island and then the ship decides to come around where you're facing, you're likely not going to be able to reverse outspeed him getting around the island. So that's a much better way to approach these difficult situations that you find yourself in. But rather than them overwhelming me, you know, the Shimikaze was low, the Puerto Rico was low. So I was able to eliminate those threats, which helped. And then that only meant the CV and having to deal with the Slava, but the enemy CV didn't really focus me much there towards the end and sitting behind the island. But because he easily could have, because it would have forced me maybe to try to come out, pressure me, and then Slava get the hit. But I'd rather just take the hits from the CV than deal with the Slava. So again, that Slava did a good job. He did all he could in that situation. So I hope this helps you knowing how and when to stand your ground. Even at the lower tiers, I don't know, maybe your tier 8 Prince Organ, you could do that with your hydroacoustic search. You know, you have torpedoes. A Weimar helps you in that type of, again, scenario, which I don't always find myself in these scenarios, but maybe for you, you will find yourself in something similar like this in a light cruiser or even a heavy cruiser. But if you have the torpedoes, that's your trump card, and that's what keeps the other ships from just simply rushing on the island, unless they don't know you have torpedoes. So I hope this video was helpful to you in this intermediate player guide series. I already have another video in mind for the new player guide series, but just trying to help these things. It's just taken me over time. This has taken me a long time to learn, like over a year and a half. Just trying to, I mean, I don't play all the time. Don't play every single day constantly. And when I do, it's just an hour or two when I do get on. But it's something that's just taken me to learn over time. So hopefully this helps shorten your learning curve here in this scenario. So if you liked today's video, give a thumbs up. If you did not, give a thumbs down. Subscribe if you do want to see more. If you're subscribed, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. And we'll catch you next time. Take care.